curriculum that's taught in terms of strategy development, particularly for entrepreneurs, and seeing if we can sort of make a dent in the ecosystem. Our real goal is sort of moving up the value chain. I think a lot of researchers tend to study very small things, and so our goal is really, can we, help the ecosystem take off? And so that's sort of where PN Growth came from. And my role on this is the technology, and then also developing some of the curriculum materials as well, and doing a couple of the case studies. So yeah, I'll be around during the 3 days of the event, and looking forward to meeting you all. Though I will say I may be freaking out and at my computer most of the time, but yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, Ahi, I assume you've done your intro.
Yeah, I mean, if is Sandeep back alive? Is he has got audio?
Yeah, I don't see Sandeep join the conversation.
Hey Avinash, we got a couple of emails saying that they are not able to join this because it's saying the line is full.
Okay.
The line full.
Sharad and Mrikyank, I think, sent an email.
Okay. Okay, I'm just sending another mail saying, please try this. Oh, I wasn't aware. Probably this has a limitation of 10 users or something like that. So what I've
if it is video, then it is 10. I think audio is unlimited, so I think people can join on the audio only link. You might have a different link.
That is, I believe that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a GoToMeeting kind of thing. I do have GoToMeeting, but I'm not sure whether it is, since it's not planned. I don't know that it's free.
Yeah. At this stage, the logistics for the GoToMeeting will be a little challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, just let me call Sandeep and be back in a minute.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Rasmi, you started the call?
No, Avinash or Sandeep did. Either of them.
Yeah, Avi started the call, and Sandeep was going to lead us in talking about the CampFire sessions, but clearly Google knew he wanted to talk, and so
yeah,
do we have success?
Yeah, looks.
Yes, Sandeep has come in now, I believe.
Yeah, so I hope this is a good audio now.
Yeah,
much better.
Okay, so a lot of people are actually not able to join in. I don't know what's the reason.
Yeah.
No. So Sandeep, we have a limitation of 10 users or something like that. So what I've done is I've shared another link with them where they will be able to catch up with the live video streaming of this, so they can actually see it. But why don't we get started? If they have questions, they can actually post it on the Q&A module, which I will enable.
Great.
So I'll share that with them.
Okay, cool. So what I will do is, Avinash, I will just send out a mail to everyone in a few seconds so that they know what to expect. So just give me a couple of seconds. So there are some 7 or 8 people who are trying to get in. Asha, you have sent an email already.
Yeah.
Okay, so Avinash, we'll just get started, and can you also just reply to the same email thread, please, and ask them to put the Q&A thing, and I'll just get started with this.
Sure.
Right.
Sandeep got frozen. And we need to find a better solution. This is
not great.
Yeah, I think the GoToMeeting,
Have you had better experience with them?
Yeah, well, obviously, I have seen we do that demo to 20 people in 20 different locations. It scales pretty well.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, this sucks,
Yeah.
And by design, I guess.
We'll roll around and we'll have done absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Sandeep is
Yeah, Sandeep is frozen. So, so Ahi, shall we move to your go-to meeting?
Let me see whether they're still. Can you? I'm asking this. I'm asking them, can I make it free for? I have only one channel, so if they're already using it, gets harder. Yeah, I think they will make it free for me. Just give me 2 minutes.
So, go-to meeting is only audio, right? Ahi, there is no video for that.
Video possible, I think. I don't know. We don't do video much. Yeah, video is possible. Video is possible.
Yeah.
Video is possible. Presentation is possible, and then you could, yeah, and you can call in also. I'll share the link once.
Sandeep is joined. Hey, Sandeep.
Yes, sorry about that.
So, Sandeep, what I would suggest is disable your video, just keep it on audio.
Yeah, no, I've switched to another connection, so I think it should be okay now. Okay. So I don't know whether I had gotten started, and I don't know whether it was coming across or whether I broke off in between. So I'll just make this quick. So we'll probably switch with the other Hangout and get the questions onto this group itself, since this is interactive. So thanks everyone for joining in. What we're going to do today is we've got Rem here, and Rem is driving the program at the Mysore campus itself. So Rem, we would request you to share a little bit more in detail about the way the 3 days are being structured. And the objective of doing that is that we want all of our fire starters to be in the know in terms of how the entire program is going to work, and so then they are in sync with what we are trying to achieve when they are conducting these sessions in the evening. And guys, like I've spoken to most of you personally, but yes, there are a couple that I was not able to reach out on the phone. But essentially, and maybe what I will do is talk about the campfire session a little more when we come to that. But maybe we'll we'll just hear it from Rem and then take up the campfire details subsequently. So Rem, over to you.
Yeah, I'll start. I'm just going to do a screen share on my end, and so let me know if you guys can see the slides that I'm sharing here. Looks like you can. Great. So thanks all for coming, and thanks for joining this call and doing the campfire sessions. So I'm just going to run through this sort of very 20,000-foot overview of the PN growth program. So 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the way we've really structured the program is so to help people sort of start with, I think, what a lot of startups don't spend enough time on, which is what's the big picture, what's the startup sort of goals and vision. From those goals and visions that get developed on the first day, the next day sort of looks at unfair advantage, right? So anyone can have a goal, to become the next great, SaaS business or the next great, artificial intelligence business. But what's the unfair advantage that you as a startup is going to be able to leverage to sort of take down the incumbents to become successful? And then at the end of that day, so that's the end of Saturday, what we have is that we're going to have the founders who take part actually sort of do an exercise of using what we call the IPO framework, which is what's the information people and organizations that are going to allow me to sort of multiply my unfair advantage to scale my business. And then we wrap up on Sunday with sort of an action item and Shark Tank session. So the idea is that sort of how do you translate the strategy that you've developed over the last 2 days into something that you can go back to your co-founders, go back to your team, and use to sort of actually drive the business forward over the next year. And so to dive a little bit more into detail with that sort of overview out of the day, we can go into day one. And as you all know, the bus leaves early, 6 a.m. As the bus goes down, we have some activities organized on the bus that we're finalizing right now. From there, the primary sort of chunk of the day is this North Star section, which is how do you define the goals and scope for your startup And so Pallav from Fusion Charts, who we met with yesterday to sort of finalize the program, and then Ronnie Chatterjee are going to go through and actually finalize, sort of go through and present a framework for understanding how to define the goals and scope for your startup. And the part that I like best here is sort of what are the things that you're not supposed to do. I think it's really easy to get excited and go in way too many directions. So a lot of these exercises are focused around how do you sort of define the negatives? What are the things, what are the markets that you shouldn't enter? To dive a little bit more into that, I'll present right here. I don't know if the text is readable through the Hangout, is sort of the structure within that, which is that the first part is we just have all the founders taking place, write down what they think their vision, their goals, and the sort of activities that their startup engaged in are. And so this is done sort of without any framework. It's almost like just like a brain dump, right? You want to do this before anything actually happens. Then Pallav and Ronnie are going to present a framework from an HBS professor, Eric Vandenstein, that walks you through sort of how to evaluate if your vision actually leads to sort of actionable goals, if it leads to sort of better decision making in the firm. And then in the middle of the session, and this is going to happen for each of the first 3 modules, what we're going to have is that the founders are going to essentially pair up with one another, right? So everyone will be paired with 2 other founders for almost an hour and a half, and they're going to get feedback. And you know, some of the startups people will be paired with will be at earlier stages, some will be at later stages. But the idea is that by being exposed to people who maybe you haven't been exposed to before, that you're going to be able to see things about the goals that you have that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And then it all ends back on Texo with sort of drawing out what's your new vision, what's your new goals, and what's your new scope. And that ends a little bit before 7 p.m., and then we break for dinner. And then, as we'll talk about a little bit more, the parallel campfire sessions happen afterwards. And the way I see those is that they're really about igniting the strategy, right? So if what we're doing in the sort of primary modules is presenting a framework that people can use to develop better, in this case, sort of goals for their startup, I think one way that I see the campfire sessions plugging in is now let's talk about 2 people who have done that. And so I think some of the more experienced people who are taking part in this program have really good techniques that can plug in, or maybe different viewpoints that can push the goals that the startups have developed throughout the program. Once that campfire session wraps up, everyone's going to be tired. Obviously, they're probably going to want to hit the hay after that. And so that brings us to day 2. So the first part of day 2 is developing an unfair advantage. And so Ronnie Sherrick, who's not listed here, and Shankar are going to talk about how do you sort of articulate what your startup's unfair advantage is. Is it something about your position in the market? Is it something about the capabilities that you have within your team? And it works very similar to what I described on that Friday afternoon, right? And so the first step is sort of what do you think your unfair advantage is? And I think this is actually one of my favorite modules because often people think they have an unfair advantage and then they go talk to 20 other people and everyone also thinks they have that same unfair advantage, right? So they say, oh, you know, we have a great corporate culture. We're better at hiring than anyone else. Well, if everyone believes that, it's unlikely that it's true. And so a lot of the session is sort of nailing down and refining what maybe your competitive advantage actually is. And so we're going to use this VRAN framework to sort of nail down what that unfair advantage is and sort of stress test it. After lunch, we end with something I think a little more moving from the strategic to the tactical, which is sort of leveraging partners in the ecosystem. So Shekhar from Excel is going to help lead this session, which I think is going to be fantastic. And so for this one, we've actually developed our own framework. And so both Sherik and I study networks, right? So how do firms use the people, the organizations, and the information that they know? And so we have this framework that we're calling the IPO framework to sort of map out what are those resources in the ecosystem, those partnerships you need to make, the books you need to read, the people you need to get to know, that's going to help your starter sort of multiply that unfair advantage that you identified in the morning. And I think this one's really exciting because instead of the interviews just being about being pushed by the people that you're going to be paired with, what's going to be really exciting is that they're going to actually provide recommendations of people they know who could be useful for your startup, or they'll provide an organization that they think you could join, or a book that's been influential for them. So at the end of this sort of day 2, not only have you developed a vision as a startup, not only have you developed goals and sort of identified an unfair advantage, at this point you're starting to develop a set of resources, or at least potential resources that you could use to grow as a company. And again, I think the campfire sessions can sort of reignite what we see happen in these sessions. And so maybe we can think about ways to sort of better identify unfair advantages, or how one articulates that, and then also combine it with how do you leverage resources in the larger ecosystem to help your company grow. On the final day, we essentially comes down to defining priorities and taking action. And so what we're going to see here, which is pretty exciting, is we're going to have Anish, Shaker, and Ronnie again talk about sort of how do you develop an action plan. And the action plan is going to be similar to a to-do list in terms of concreteness. But the thing that we've sort of inputted that I think is really important is how do you find those transformative decisions? What are those things that you can do that sort of have cascade effects that really change your company? And so the first part is writing out what that action plan is, looking for those items that you can do, those decisions that you can make that maybe have a huge impact. And then what's going to happen is we're going to have these what we're calling Shark Tank sessions, where 8 of the volunteer mentors who are part of the program are going to be assigned to different rooms, and all the founders who are taking part are going to be assigned to those mentors. And we only have a limited amount of time, so of the 25 people per room, roughly 5 are going to be selected to get feedback from that mentor on stage, right? And so there's going to be a back and forth where the founders sort of going to have to defend, case study style, whether the decision they have does have a big impact, whether it's implementable. Is it something that could actually be done? Do they think it would have the impact that they would like it to have? And that wraps up day 3, and with some nice closing words, and then the bus pass to Bangalore from Mysore at the end. And so that's the basic structure. And so each case you can think of as we're presenting, on the one hand, academic frameworks, and then on the other hand, we're exposing people to other founders who are part of the program to learn from that, and then you're wrapping up that knowledge. So there's a sort of back and forth between, I think, the academic frameworks that are thought to be valuable, but then also sort of stress testing them with other people and getting other people's feedback on the material that people have developed throughout the day. And that's the high-level overview now, where we're refining some of the frameworks, and the whole thing will be sort of complemented by some rich data collection that will happen through Texo, so that at the end, not only do you sort of leave with the learnings, but you'll actually leave with those learnings on a sheet of paper, which I think is pretty exciting. So you'll have sort of a whole action plan developed out from the software. So Sandeep, does that sort of give the information that you were looking for?
Yes, Rem, thanks very much. I think that was a pretty concise and sharp description. So maybe we'll just have a couple of minutes if there are any questions around this, and then we'll go to the second part of this session, which is to talk about the campfire sessions themselves.
Great.
So if anyone has any questions, just feel free to ask. And Avinash, maybe I'll have to take your help to see if there are any questions on the live broadcast.
Yeah, I actually missed that slide for the second day campfire. So are you splitting the whole list, or is there any, or it is like how are you basically doing both the days?
Oh, for this, how the second day is being split?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
The second day, the campfire, I think I probably saw both of them having the same list, right?
Oh yeah, so that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about as we talked about the campfire sessions today.
Yeah.
Was sort of how to divvy those out based off people's interests. And so I think I think that's a great point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Avinash, if there are no other questions on the live broadcast, then we'll go to the second part.
Yeah, as of now, I don't have any questions, Sandeep.
Okay.
Great.
So what I'm going to do is I will probably just share my screen for a couple of minutes, talk about the context, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the prep work for the campfire sessions. So let me just go ahead and do that. So I've got the Google Sheet, which all of you would be familiar with. That's up on the broadcast now. So I'm not sure if it has come up for you.
There it goes.
All right, cool. So what we've done is obviously, this is something which most of you are already familiar with. So what we've done is, if you look at what Rem was just explaining about how the strategic framework has been put together, that is what you would see in the column C. So, on the first day, we talk about setting goals amongst other things. And then, this is, of course, a very broad statement, creating unfair advantage. But that's really what, every startup is going after. And how do you articulate that? And then, the other part is about how do you leverage the ecosystem in different ways. So what we've tried to do is pick up some of the suggestions that all of you have come up with in terms of topics and see how do we align it with, with the main program itself. So if I can take one example here. Okay, so one example which came up was, so every SaaS company must use SEO and content marketing tractions and channels. And how do you say that you will do it differently or get a leverage which is 10x better than somebody else? And so therefore the same topic we've kind of reframed it by saying that can you stand out by using traditional marketing tools in non-traditional ways? And the operative word here really is, can you stand out? And if you're able to stand out, then therefore you automatically are creating that unfair advantage for yourself. So it's a slightly different perspective, maybe just a 15-degree, 20-degree shift from what has been suggested earlier. But once you change the lens, the whole perspective actually changes quite a lot. Okay. Similarly, if you look at the lack of mentorship, which is out here on row number 8. Okay, so this was another suggestion which actually a number of founders had suggested, and we've changed that very slightly to say, networking by design, and it's kind of tied in with the leveraging of the ecosystem theme, which is there in the main system, in the main program, and so therefore, do you network by design, or do you do it, just as a natural consequence, or if it comes naturally to you, and therefore why and why not? So the idea is, you need to probably sometimes step out of your comfort zone to be able to actually leverage the ecosystem in an effective manner. So I'll not go through all of the topics in this sense, but by and large, if you look at how we've taken your topic and tried to align it with the main program, this is what we've tried to do. So this is what I wanted to share from here. All of the pairs, I think, most of you have been already in contact with each other, both on the phone and the email. And I've kind of said that, hey, let me take a backseat and let all of you put your programs together. And of course, available anytime to get onto a phone call quickly, to answer any questions that you may have, whether that's regarding the topic itself or the session format, or if you need any facilitation at the venue. So just anything that you need in terms of assistance will be made available. What I also want to do is, I have already been in touch with some of you today to talk about how we are going to articulate and present this to the other participants on day 1 and 2. So incidentally, what we are also doing is over the next 2 days, we will schedule all of these sessions and let you know whether your program will be on day 1 or day 2. We are obviously not keeping anything for day 3 because we don't have time to squeeze that in. So we will try and put in all these sessions on day 1 and day 2 itself with specific slots for all of you. And one other information which I'd again like to share is projectors and whiteboards are available. So whoever has requested for that, I have already confirmed. But in case you want to factor that into your plans, please go ahead and do that. So the other and the last ask from all of you is to prepare a one-pager, which is essentially going to serve as a background note, which we can share with the participants on day 1. And we're also going to prepare a poster, which we will be putting up at the venue itself. The idea is that these sessions are in the evening, and obviously, guys, thank you a lot for getting into this pay forward mode. However, we do need to sell the program to the participants and ensure that everyone is kind of tuned in and highly charged up to come in after a day-long session to come into another session at 9 p.m. So therefore, we'll do a bit in terms of raising the awareness level, and these posters will be put up at the venue. Hopefully, that will create a good recall value. And so therefore we need your help to create this one pager, which will turn it around into a template and put it up as a poster. So Rohit, who's here with us on the call, he's also volunteering for the program. He's going to help us to put together this poster. And what I'm going to do is, for the next, maybe 5-7 minutes, I'm going to request Ahi Manika from Doc Engage. So he's got the session on personal goals. So what we've done is spoken with Ahi and Ashish and tried to come up with a format which we think will become very easy for you to use and adapt as per whatever your needs would be. So can I request Ahi, if you can share the format that you have prepared and maybe just take us through this and see how you've divided that particular document into different sections.
Yeah, maybe you can show the same document that you also have access, and since you're already sharing the screen.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
so I've shared it, and maybe you want to run through it.
Yeah, sure. And I think I just, since Sandeep said, and I just created that quickly, and maybe can we share the link here, maybe with everybody, so that they can see it as well. So if you see that, I just divided it into multiple sections, and then just give an introduction, which is, Sandeep could use it as abstract, and then they can use the poster there. And the other part is, who are these people? Maybe you can just do some tagline about what is this founder or entrepreneur is about, and just instead of being descriptive. And who should attend? Meaning this document is not finalized, but you just see that as a template. Who should attend? What to expect? The impact in one line. And before they come, how they should prepare. Because I feel it will be good if it is kind of split it into two. Half an hour to talk about the concept, and then probably 1 hour where you can do some kind of a workshop model. What sits that you can pin down a few things and try to create a takeaway from the event. So that's how I basically put it together into multiple sections that you can fill in, and that can be utilized as as a whatever way that you can present it to the rest of the crowd. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's nothing much to talk about. You can see the template. How I basically try to put the one that we have, and then we can sort of. Maybe you can have more suggestions so that I can also improve this for our part of the session, right?
Great.
Yeah, he has been, very supportive and very flexible. I think he has just put it together, after today's morning discussion. So again, I really took his support to, help prepare a template. And I would say, guys, feel free to improvise on this as you like. The only couple of things that we would want to kind of retain is, of course, the session title. We would want, both of the fire starters brief profile with photograph. And I really love the way we have used hashtags out here, Avi. And I think the rest of it, in terms of what else you want to present. Yes, the introduction is very important because that's the one paragraph which is going to go into the handouts. Okay, so that is very important. And the rest of the document, I would leave up to you whether you want to use these sections or you want to use some other nomenclature which is more apt for your specific session.
Yeah.
So absolutely feel free to do it. This is very relevant for the personal goals kind of a session, but you may want to use it in a slightly different manner.
I think the heading, you can change it the way it fits into that session. And if you are not doing in a workshop model, you can do whatever way you think it fits in. I think the style can be the same, but the content could be different, right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So I mean, incidentally, just to kind of reframe that. So Ahi Manika is planning to do kind of a mini workshop within his session. Now, rest of the fire starters leaders may or may not be doing a workshop kind of a session, which is fine. So if you're doing a workshop, you could follow a similar format. If not, if you want to have a round the table discussion, or you want to take up case studies, out of say 20-25 people who will be there in the room. If you want to pick up a few case studies, I would encourage you to do that. And maybe what you could also do is do some backroom maneuvering and figure out during the day, 4 or 5 guys who you want to bring into the session, because you'll be knowing a lot of the other founders, right? So if you want to actually do a little bit of backroom maneuvering and get some of these case studies that you want to talk about, if you want to get that kind of ready even before the session starts, I think that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and I would just keep it, my one suggestion would be, it's going to be a long day. It'll be awesome, lots of learning. So I think the less you're relying on a PowerPoint presentation for 30 minutes at 9 o'clock at night, the better the campfire session will go. Otherwise, I mean, if you're trying to do a lullaby, then that may be the way to go. But otherwise, yeah, I try to keep it involved where people are. It's much more like a workshop or much more like a discussion. I think that's what's I think that's what benefits everybody at that time of night anyways. So yeah, and I think that also takes a little bit of the load off. These don't need to be polished. These won't be recorded, right? It can be a little raw and a little open for everybody who's in the room. But yeah, the poster looks great. Sandeep and Ahi, really nice job.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, this is not going to be a presentation style. What I was thinking, the half an hour, you could just talk it about to warm it up, to lighten it up, so people can free to share what they're thinking to share.
I love that.
The idea is to basically give them a set of plain paper and ask them to write in a very, very empty way, what they feel like writing as the goal. And basically to ignite that, you need to have this half an hour to warm up. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. So since you mentioned that, so if anyone requires sheets of paper, stationery, we will also ensure that that is available. And
Sandeep, there was a question by Sachin, I think. What is the format of the sessions? And there was one more question posted by Manav, not Manav, sorry, Mrikang. So that also needs a response.
So I'm not sure what was Mrigang's question, Avinash.
It got posted on the Q&A module. Okay, let me try and retrieve that.
Yeah. Right, so he's saying the format is, I think we already discussed, right? This is like a similar question that what he said, that depending on the session, you could have a different format that you can adopt, right? And
Yes, so just to recap, in case somebody missed it. So the format is, is kind of, you have multiple choices, and depending upon your topic, you might want to choose what format you want to take. So one format is, for example, the workshop format, where, very quickly into the session, you actually dive straight into the workshop. I think that is what Ahi has planned. The other format is taking up case studies. So I know Ankur, who couldn't join the call, because as you know, so that is Murphy's law. He was far away from good internet connection, and to top it all, his battery was about to die. And by the way, he's the guy who advises everybody on what mobile phone to buy. so that's
Mrikang has another question which says, are the sessions running parallelly?
Yes, absolutely. So yes, Mrigank, if you're listening in, the sessions are running parallelly. We are likely to have 4 or 5 sessions on the first day, and another 4 or 5 sessions on the second day, and all of them are going to be running parallelly. So we have around 25 odd, give or take 5 this way or that. So 25 odd people we are expecting to be participating in every session. And so if you have 5 sessions running, that takes the number to about 125, 130. So that's the number of people that would realistically speaking would turn up for the session. Though of course we would be trying our best, and myself and all of the other volunteers with iSpirit will try and herd in everybody else, so that they get the maximum benefit. But let's say 25 to 30 is what you should expect in every session. Okay, and coming back to the previous question about the format, just so that we are all on the same page. So one is the workshop format. As I said, you could dive into it just maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the session itself. The other is a case study format. So some of the founders are planning to take up specific case studies which either they know of or have been suggested by other folks. The third is, of course, you could go around sharing experiences. So this could be personal experiences of people in the room, and given the time that we have allocated, so you may want to, you may want to pick on a particular strategy in terms of whom do you pick up to talk about the case study. So which is where I was suggesting that if you really want to talk about case studies, you might want to do a little bit of work to figure out which case studies you want to pick up. Which experiences you want to pick up, because choosing it on the spot in a room of 30 people just might make it a little clumsy. So these are the 2 or 3 formats which I think would work. And like Rem was saying, it's probably best to stay away from PowerPoint or maybe keep that to a bare minimum, just so that people are actually actively engaged and all their brain cells are fired and they're just kind of energetically involved in the discussion. So that's, I think, a good suggestion.
Yeah, and then I'm going to ask one more favor for everyone who's a session leader on this, which is one, first off, thank you, but 2, one of the things that we want to do is we'll be handing out sheets that we're getting printed actually right now, just doing sort of a little like NPS score at the end and a couple other measures, so that we understand where, when PN growth runs again, or when you're doing roundtables in the future, what are people excited by, what's working, what's not. We'll keep it in the strictest confidentiality, but I think that would be really helpful for us. So we'll be in contact with that. But as you're sort of wrapping down the session at the end, if you could just hand out those sheets, that would be fantastically helpful. And I think gives us good feedback on sort of where the holes in the ecosystem are and what we need more sessions on, or what maybe we don't need more sessions on as we think about what the next set of events are for PN growth.
So Rem, what we're also doing is, even for the evening sessions, we would be having hall managers, and what we'll do is, we'll kind of give them this responsibility of getting
that'd be great, Sandeep.
And yeah, so maybe I would keep a note of this and ensure that we delegate this. So guys, just like we are discussing all of this very openly, this is all collaborative. Like Rem is asking for some kind of an NPS exercise to be done, and we just kind of discussed it today. And the entire planning and execution of these campfire sessions will not be possible without taking this collaborative approach. So when you guys are actually doing the session for us, of course it's a great thing, but at the end of the day, it still remains very, very collaborative. So I would say don't assume or don't look at it from the lens that there's a program going on. It's just very collaborative with everybody out there. So some things will work, some things may not work like you expected, but that's absolutely fine because we're all into this together.
Yeah, we'll do the basically joke at all the other organizers in the sessions. So we'll have fun after 9 o'clock. So blaming you guys.
Yeah, sure, Rahi. I think you're going to become very, very famous.
Yeah. So I was asking I had a question.
Now you are making Rem nervous, I think.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So, question: why 9 o'clock? Can we do this, as soon as the session finishes, or because I'm worried that if you have a break in there for dinner and getting people back after a long day might be difficult.
No, don't worry about that, Sudarshan. So the point is, it's a very valid point, but we figured out the logistics in terms of how we'll do this. So there will be logistics on ground to ensure that this works. And I'm not saying this is going to be foolproof, but then we hope we should not have a big problem there.
The suggestion would be you move the drink bottles to the rooms and only keep the food till 9 o'clock, right? Then it'll automatically work, right? So, so I had a question also that is there a process of signing up for each session? Or how do you sign up? Or after the first day they will basically be asked to select, or how does it work?
Yes, Ahi. So let me answer that. So we are not making it that structured. That is the purpose of the synopsis which will be getting handed out. Okay, and we will be sharing the information about the session as it goes on, and that will happen, at the venue. That will happen, on the phone messages and everything. To answer your question, by and large, it's left up to the participants as to which session they want to come into. I think we'll have a fairly good spread across the sessions, and we are not forcing anyone to pre-select which session they want to go for.
Okay.
I think somebody had a question here, but
yeah, Sandeep, I've just posted a question. This is again from Mrigank.
yes, Avinash. I'm sorry, I'm not able to see that.
Okay, the question is, get the scheduling done correctly. There are sessions that even we would like to attend. Yeah.
Okay, so so while I do not have a very elegant solution to that question, what will happen practically speaking is that, let's say, Mrigang, if you're taking one session on the Friday, that effectively leaves you a choice of another 4 or 5 sessions for the Saturday. So if you find that there's any particular session you really want to take, and of course, we are just a small group of 20. So, we can try and schedule your session so that it doesn't happen parallelly with the same session, with other sessions on the same day, right? We can try that, but that will be on a best effort basis. But as I said, we have that flexibility for now. And of course, I'll quote you the price for doing that flexibility later. So I think then fairly good questions. I think we also took back a couple of pointers which will help to make this better for everyone. And I think over the next 2 days, what we really want to do is freeze the one pager which is there. So sincere request to everybody, if you can finish your bit by tomorrow, even if it is the end of the day, because then a couple of our other volunteers will need to take all of that and churn out the handouts, format it and all of that stuff, and also do the poster bit. So do try and send out all of your inputs in the format which he has shared. And in case you don't have the link for that, I'll be happy to share it out on the mail for everyone. Okay, and in case anyone has not been able to connect with your other partner for the session, so just let me know. I know I've been on the email copy for most of you, but if there's anything we can do to push either in terms of connecting or getting the format of your session right, so happy to do that anytime.
Great.
Sandeep, will you be able to put this into a folder that people can see what other people are trying to be creative into the format?
Very good idea, Ahi. So yes, I do that.
Yeah.
So I'll put it into a Google Docs folder and share it with everyone. Okay, then I guess we should close out now. Any remarks, closing remarks from you, Rem or Avinash?
No, just thanks for organizing the sessions, guys. I think it'll be a really nice addition to the program, and I think bring a lot to it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Nothing really from my side. Looking forward to attending some of the sessions. So yeah, great stuff,
Sure.
Sandeep. Managing this is very tough, but you've beautifully done this. Many sessions and a lot of good mapping. So looking forward for this one.
Excellent, thank you. So guys, we'll also be sharing out a link for this live recording. So in case you've been able to attend this, and this is very important, in case you've been able to attend this hangout and your partner has not been able to, maybe you just want to and of course it will go out to him also, but maybe that will be a good reference point for both of you. So we'll do that in a short while from now. Okay, then thanks everybody. We've managed to finish on time, so that's great. Hope to see you around very, very soon.
Sure.
Great. See you all soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.